Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tailgaters. I'm Blaze Fields, joined here by Cam Coughlin. Cam, it's the first day of fall, so do you know what that means?
It's really cold, which means not long sleeve sweater weather yet. I'm still in my short sleeves. Looks like I just got back from the golf course, but no, what does it actually mean?
It means that, you know what? Fall time's the right time. Fall time's the right time to talk about football.
Football!
So, Cam, we're 2 weeks into the NFL season. There's a lot of interesting storylines going on. A lot of hot takes going around just because we are so early into the season. So Cam, I'm going to ask you real quick before we get into our actual segments. What's the hottest NFL take you have?
Hottest NFL take? Wow, you're putting me on the spot here. One of my hottest NFL takes is actually in the show, so I'm not going to spoil that one.
Stay tuned.
I think one I wasn't going to put in because it didn't really fit our structures. I don't think the Buccaneers even come close to keeping up the pace. They could hit a little bit of a wall, and I think Tom Brady. Something's off. Something's off. It's very noticeable. Of course, we hope everything's okay, but something's undeniably off, and I think that could hinder the way the Buccaneers end up playing. How about you? What's your hottest take? Warm us up a little. It's a little chilly outside.
Yeah, it is a little bit chilly, so let's get a little bit hot here. I think that the Colts. I think that they're a playoff team waiting to awake, and we'll get into that in a second.
You are getting into that, yeah.
We'll get into that in a second, but I think the Colts, once Matt Ryan figures out the system and they get some guys back, I think they're going to be a pretty good team. They're going to be scary. The AFC South is pretty weak this year, so I think that while right now, considering the rest of the teams in the division, they can definitely run away with the division if they get hot. All right, Cam, so let's get into 0-2, 2-0. This little segment I've put together here.
Thank you. Great name.
0-2, 2-0. Let's go through the 0-2 teams. Yeah. What do you think is the best 0-2 team right now?
So the best 0-2 team, I think it's so early on in the season where we can say there are some, even if you're an 0-2 team, you can still be a really good football team. Like, I'm 0-2 in fantasy. I have the second most points scored in my league.
There you go.
I'm still a really good football team. But in the NFL, with what actually matters, I think the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, he took him to the Super Bowl last year. He was very well could have been the postseason playoffs MVP if it wasn't Stafford or Kupp.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon has been a workhorse behind Burrow in the backfield. They have a just unbelievable wide receiver trio at this point that keeps sprouting them. The defense. I follow a lot of Bengals stuff on Twitter because I used to be a Reds fan, and somehow the Bengals stuff got circulated in my feed. Everyone hates on that defense. I did some research. The defense has not been playing up to it, and they lost a very tough one against the Pittsburgh Steelers week 1.
Yeah.
Therefore, I do think the Bengals can quickly turn it around, and this could just be a little blip, and the Bengals went stretches like this last year and ended up in the Super Bowl.
All right. Me personally, I'm going with the, as much as it pains me to say, the Las Vegas Raiders. I think Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, they're still trying to figure out that long-lost connection, if you will, from Fresno State. They lost a lot of close games against some good teams. They lost a close one against the Chargers, almost beat them. They almost beat the Cardinals. They blew a big lead. But you know what? I think all that stuff can kind of be fixed. They need to work on the defense. Obviously, Josh McDaniels is still settling in as that head coach role.
And give him some,
you just got to give him some time. You just got to give him some time. There's a lot of talent there, and there's a reason why the AFC West has been touted as one of the most talented divisions, and it's because the Raiders are in that division.
And not because of the Chiefs, right?
Well, no.
I just got that on camera.
You just got it on camera. All right, worst 0-2 team.
Worst 0-2 team, this one's pretty easy for me. Atlanta Falcons. Marcus Mariota, he hasn't looked atrocious, but he hasn't been far. He's been far from good, far from Oregon. He's a scrambler. They got Drake London. Who's that other receiver they got? It might have been picked like top 5. Oh, Kyle Pitts. That's right. Kyle Pitts is missing. Please let us know if you find him. He has been nowhere to be seen. He recorded 1 touchdown last year, and I think we're going to get into him maybe a little bit more into the show. The Atlanta Falcons are a mess right now. Cordell Patterson. I hate to stop. I don't want to keep playing my fantasy team, but he was very good week 1, not good week 2, showed in my fantasy results. And if he's not getting the reps he needs, because he is still a very good player, I don't see a return for the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. It's very simple. They've lost to 2 teams that are how do you say, not good.
Oh, that's all right.
The Cleveland Browns, the
Ooh.
New York Giants. I don't think the Browns with Jacoby Brissett are a good team. I don't
agree.
think the New York Giants are a very good team, honestly.
Yep.
They lost both of those games. The defense has been keeping them in it, but honestly, Baker Mayfield and that offense looks absolutely atrocious. Somebody please save Christian McCaffrey because he's down bad.
Send him to Buffalo.
All right. Speaking of best 2-0 team, I got the Buffalo Bills.
Wait.
I'm gonna rip the carpet out from underneath you here because I know you wanted to talk about the Bills. Let me talk about the Bills real quick. Josh Allen, MVP candidate.
Yep.
That defense, absolutely insane. They forced 8 turnovers over the first 2 games.
Keep
and
going.
one of those games was against the Los Angeles Rams, the defending Super Bowl champions.
Keep going.
This is a team that is very, very talented. It should be illegal for them to be this talented.
Wow.
And like I said, they're proving why most people had them picked to win the Super Bowl, Cam. You want to add a little bit more season
I will
there?
quickly touch on it. I'm a Bills fan. I've been a Bills fan since the Tyrod Taylor days. I'm no bandwagon. Please, I love it.
It's ancient history.
It's ancient history from 2015. The Bills all fast have been connecting, and they blew out the Titans. And I know the Titans are not a good football team, but without their number 2 wide receiver and Gabriel Davis, Stephon Diggs, he got majority of the wide receiver work and handled it just fine. When Gabe Davis gets back, it's going to be game over for whoever they play, and that is the Dolphins this week, which, well...
4 words. Diggs, sideline touchdown, unbelievable.
That's-
all right.
yeah.
Worst 2-0 teams. Speaking of the Dolphins, I have the Miami Dolphins. Actually, no, I don't have the Miami Dolphins. You have the Miami Dolphins.
We talked about this. I took the Dolphins from him. I have the Miami Dolphins, and I'm gonna talk about it again later. Tua, I think it cools off. There's no way he keeps it up. It doesn't seem likely. Wide receivers can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receivers can only do so much, and I think head coaching can only do so much. McDaniel has looked good in Miami. There's no disregarding that. Don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
Don't get too far ahead of yourself, and I think the Dolphins just 2-0. I'd not expect it. Maybe it's just because they're the Bills division. I don't think that's bias. I just think it's facts.
I think it's facts. Well, personally, I think that the Dolphins being the worst 2-0 team is not facts because the New York Giants are somehow 2-0, folks.
That's a good pick.
And I don't know if I've seen this much hype around the New York Giants in a long time, and that's saying something because there isn't much hype, and for good reason. Danny Dimes, he's looked mediocre.
Yep.
That entire team has just looked mediocre. It's just the fact that they played 2 0-2 teams in the Panthers, and their strength of schedule just has not been very good this year, and it shows because they barely beat both the Giants and the Titans, 2 teams who I'm not very much believing in. But I think that does it for 0-2, 2-0. So let's get into some stonks here.
Let's do it.
Let's get into some stonks.
And by stonks, for those that aren't under 21, it's stocks.
It's stock.
It's stock.
It's stocks. We're just using slang here.
Because we're cool.
We're hip.
We try to be.
So, obviously, the saying goes buy low, sell high.
Buy low, sell high, yeah.
That's how you make your money.
Yeah.
Cam, who are you buying low on?
I'm buying low. So we talk about our picks before the show.
Yeah.
And I got an earful for this pick. I'm buying low on Garrett Wilson. Now,
you can't buy low on somebody who's not low. I'm sorry, Cam, you've been eliminated.
Now, let me read my facts off, and it's not a lot, but it's a little. He had irrelevant week 1. I don't care who his quarterback is, because if you make the argument that this quarterback was Joe Flacco, guess what? His quarterback was also Joe Flacco in week 2 when he caught 2 touchdowns. Now, just because you have one good week doesn't mean you're at an all-time high.
But
I don't think this is the highest he's going to
But as
hit.
a rookie wide receiver,
Yes.
you have to understand that his stock is already high.
I disagree with that. Do you think Drake London's stock is already high? He was picked above Garrett Wilson?
I think it's
I don't think
it's
it is.
there.
I don't think it's there.
I think considering the situation and the fact that he's getting
I think
more
it's
routes,
2008.
I think that's
where his
I think
stock
that's
is.
his breakout game right there. That's his breakout game.
Well, I personally think it's only going to get better, and that's why I'm still. And I think it's low, but tomato.
Tomato. You
And
like
it's,
Garrett
and
Wilson?
it's tomato. How about you, Blaze? Who are you buying low?
Matt Ryan.
Oof.
I think that it's a new offense. He's still getting used to, his receivers, the coaching, all that kind of stuff. It's a Colts team that last year also didn't look. I mean, They looked good for the first half of that season before it all kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
You know, he's getting used to being the leader of that team because they need a leader because Carson Wentz was not one. I think that, you know, week 2, they had a bad game, and that was mostly because of the fact that Michael Pittman,
They got blown out.
He was injured.
They just got blown. Either way, here's my issue with that quickly is that Matt Ryan, if he was a 26-year-old, you know, maybe a few years out of college, from a different team, now he's a bat like a Trubisky. It feels like a Trubisky. I'd be, okay, that's fair. Trubisky's a great, relatively buy low right now, in my opinion. I didn't use it, but it's... Come on, we can have opinions, but mine are facts. So, but with Matt Ryan, he's aging. He was not even close to what he was when he led the Falcons to the Super Bowl and then proceeded to blow that lead. I don't think he's the same quarterback. And again, it's similar with the Falcons. I don't think there's a point of return for Matt Ryan. Just today, I was looking at the Colts depth chart. Sam Ehlinger, he's sitting right there.
I don't know.
The Colts could let the intrusive thoughts win and have Sam Ehlinger start a game coming up. I just don't think Matt Ryan. But now let me ask you this question, because with low comes high. Who are you selling high? Who is off their rocker right now? And
Carson Wentz. I think a lot of his stats are inflated because of the fact that, you know, he's passing the ball a lot. Their running game isn't exactly sound. Antonio Gibson tries, he might is mid. I think that right now he's got a good streak with the Commanders, but you know how Carson Wentz is. He's very inconsistent, and it's given me shades of last season where you never know. You might end up losing a game to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I want to pose the same question to you. Tua Tagovailoa.
Turn the ball over.
Are you selling high on him?
I am selling high on him, and I already explained why. And not really, but I'm going to really explain why this time. Tua is a quarterback who's got 2 Lightning McQueen receivers. They don't have to be accurate. He doesn't have to be accurate. They just have to be open. If you watch the touchdowns, were they good balls? They weren't bad balls whatsoever. He threw some good balls. But they had to be open, and they were, and they hit him. He hit him right in the chest sometimes, occasionally. Very underthrown balls, in my opinion. I'm a Tua hater just because I'm also a Bills fan, but I don't think he can keep it up. We'll see, though. Real quick.
I want one sentence before we wrap this show up. One sentence. Who's your lock of the week? Go.
Lock of the week, Ravens over Patriots. Why? Lamar Jackson. Who's your lock?
My lock? Kansas City Chiefs. Colts suck. All right.
Mr. Matt Ryan, I think he's going to turn the tide.
Hey, right now they suck right now.
Okay.
We're up right now. All right. That's going to be all for this episode of Tailgaters. Check back next week. We've got some great content coming your way. This is Tailgaters, hosted by Blaze Fields and Cam Cockle.